Crazy shit happening with
Oh, it's
that.
deleted on Facebook.
It is deleted. But you could, I
Okay.
think you could push go live though.
All right. Whatever. Oh, it already started. So, okay. What's up, everyone? Sorry if you're watching on Facebook or trying to watch on Facebook. I was too slow. I was sorting out my camera and my lighting, so we are no longer on the Facebook for today. Just hop over to the YouTube, or you won't be watching it if you're on Facebook, so you're already on YouTube. Anyway, this is UFC Vegas 19 preview, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the hot topics of the day, which are Leon Edwards has been booked against Belal Muhammad and the Bellator rankings. We're going to do that. But first of all, guys, I've got to add all the bells and whistles onto the screen, so I'm going to just throw it over to you. Drake, I've shaved as well. As you said, I look about 5 years old. Or was that John who said that? You've also shaved. Tell us why you shaved, Drake. I keep calling you Jake, man. I'm sorry.
I know, you're killing me with that, buddy.
Apologies, buddy.
Well, I don't know. I just kind of felt like it. That's one of those things where after so long, I initially just wanted to grow out all I could, as good as I can, and that started in March. And so I was just kind of going with it. And then, dyed the hair, figured might as well clean up a little bit, freshen, as we're getting ready to go on a trip here, soon. So gotta look my best, nice and clean. So here we are. Yeah, kept the mustache though, because
you should get some cornrows put in. Your hair is long enough, right? So when you go out there and report, you put some cornrows in, maybe some what is it? Some dookie rolls, right? Like if you go like that, people be like, "Hey, who's that dude with the cornrows, man? He looks cool."
With such an asshole, John. That would not be good. I already look like an asshole.
Every fighter would want to take a picture with you, just like not even you, just you turned around with your cornrows in your hair.
Look at this shit.
Well, I'm still playing with my settings, guys. So, John, I'm going to ask you how you're doing. Fill us in. What's going on in your life?
Well, don't play with your settings too long. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want an accident to happen.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, there's a question already. Jin.
I know Jin.
Karasu. We might as well jump into that right away, right?
Please do, because I need like 2 more minutes. Yeah.
Should I put it on the screen or?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
All right, here we go. So, Jin, what's going on, Jin? I appreciate you stopping by, asking a question early on. Is the news about UFC 261 being in Vegas instead of Singapore true or speculation? Raphael Marinho from Combate reported this. Is he a good source of information for MMA? He's definitely a good source for MMA information.
Yeah.
If you don't follow him, then you're not really following the sport too much. Like I said in my tweet about Singapore, that they were in the early stages of putting a show together and having Weili headline that thing, but most likely they're running into some obstacles, some barriers, of most likely bringing fighters over or just putting on a show, like maybe everything's not lined up perfectly for them to do it at the end of April, and the only backup plan would be to do it in Vegas. That's the quickest, right? You don't need to rent out anything because the UFC owns everything in Vegas that they utilize. So that would be the best choice. But still, we don't know for sure, right? We don't know for sure. It's not 100% sure. The UFC has not announced anything, but I'm damn sure. I'm 100% sure that they're looking at both cities, though. I'm not like throwing it like out of the window 100% that it's not going to be in Singapore, but it looks like, with the reports coming out, that it won't be in Singapore, and that sucks. But what can you do? You could hope for it, but those early stages thing, that was definitely true. But I guess they hit some barriers on the way, so now we're going to Vegas. But what can you do? You just gotta roll with the flow and go. And hopefully, maybe Drake will be there at UFC 261. I bet you he would love to be there. Because Weili, remember, Drake's the one who told us Weili was going to be the champion like 10 years ago.
Oh, no Strikedamus over here. Called it.
Very good.
So,
well, boys, I've got everything working again. If you want to jump into it all,
Let's do
Beautiful.
it.
We were just going to preview the upcoming UFC Vegas 19 card first, and then we were going to dive into these other topics and then get some fan questions going. So yeah, I've got the Fanatics here. So John doesn't actually have Fanatics, which is well documented because it's not available in South Korea for violent content. So he actually hasn't made any picks, but hopefully he can weigh in and give his opinion maybe. But Drake is going to lead the charge here because it is not banned in the US, which is
No.
a good thing for us and for everyone over there. I will share it now, though. Here we go, Drake. Have you made your picks already? Or are you going to do them live? I haven't made mine yet.
I'm an eager beaver, Nick. You know me.
I
I'm
know
always
you.
jumping as quick as I can. So
Here's an
they're all
idea.
in.
Here's an idea. If somebody out there that follows SCMP, that watches the podcast, that watches the preview shows, maybe you should just make a fake account in my name and then start picking for me. That's just an idea. I'm just saying,
now
if
you
you
put
want
it
to do
out there.
that, you just use my picture, put my name in there, and start picking for me. And I don't mind, you know what I mean? Because I have no access to the app. So if you want to do it, I say do it. Free country.
Fake JHK.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the account right there. Fake
Yeah, just-
JHK. Just do it like that.
Flat
Exactly.
out.
Fake KHK. I don't know.
Yeah. Fake Korean.
right.
That's what you put on there.
Let's do this. We'll get this out of the way. Fanatics Fantasy MMA. I'll do my quick plug. You've got to go download the app, guys. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen here now. You can get it at getfanatics.app. You can go to the App Store, and then you join our SCMP MMA group in there, and you can compete against all of us from the shows that we do on the YouTube channel here. You can compete against, we've got 100 people in our group now, fans of the show, and there's a chat group. It's really fun. It's really easy to use. As we're going to show you right now, you can't go wrong. Here you go. This is my fancy web browser that the guys at Fanatics have made for me, but the app is actually a lot slicker, I will say. Not that this isn't slick. I'm just saying the app has got even more detail and information to help you make informed picks for all your fights. And we're going to start with Curtis Blades against Derrick Lewis. Drake, I see you've gone for Mr. Razor Blades over there already. You've swung to the left. Convince me why. I mean, actually, I'm going to pick Curtis Blades as well. But yeah, I love Derrick Lewis, but I'm pretty sure Curtis Blades is going to win. But help me pick a method of victory, because you can do that, guys, for all of the main events. You can pick not just the winner, but how they're going to win. Decision, KO, sub, whatever. Drake, talk us through this fight. Come on.
Triple or nothing, guys, if you pick the method. So you can really shoot up if you're down on your luck leading up to the main event. So always fun to get a little extra gamble on the gamble. And my goodness, look at Curtis Blades is quite the favorite here. And for good reason, I would say. The man is one of, if not the best wrestler in the heavyweight division. Derrick Lewis, proven to be a guy who, not the greatest wrestler himself, has been taken down several times, been laid on by the likes of Shamil Abdurakhimov, Marcin Tybura. Plenty lesser men in the wrestling department have gotten Derrick Lewis down and controlled him. But Derrick Lewis doesn't really go away. You know, he's got this crazy strength where he can push off the heaviest of heavyweights with relative ease, even though, you know, he just gets down and he seems like he's tired. He's like, just get off of me. Like that happened in the Blagoy-Ivanov fight, if I remember correctly. It's happened several times before, and then he's ended up knocking out the opponent or getting the win. But here in this case with Curtis Blades, who will imminently take him down, I think that Curtis is just too skilled of a wrestler and grappler to be pushed off with that kind of ease that Derrick has shown in the past, because Curtis is very large and strong on top of the wrestling skills that he has. I think that Curtis's striking has improved a whole lot, you know, just with every fight, and we saw that in the Junior Dos Santos fight in particular. He honestly didn't look his best in the Alexander Volkov fight, but he still got the job done and utilized that wrestling, as you know we're noting here. But Derrick Lewis, his best chance, it's clearly on the feet. You know, this is a case of a matchup where it boils down to striker versus grappler, even though both guys can do everything for the most part. Curtis more than Derrick. I think that if Derrick Lewis is going to win this fight, it will have to be, well, I guess early. You know, we could blitz him, go crazy, but Derrick Lewis isn't really that kind of guy. He starts a little bit slow sometimes. He's going to have to weather this wrestling onslaught that Curtis Blades puts on you and not tire out and then get a little bit of a Hail Mary finish as we've seen him get in the past. And I think that he will unleash that Hail Mary finish. Look for it. He's going to, give Curtis a scare, but before that, Curtis will have dominated him for most of this fight. And I think Curtis will. I know that I picked Curtis triple or nothing on knockout TKO. I was thinking by ground and pound when I made that pick, but I think actually Curtis will get a decision. So I'm leaving that though. I'm leaving knockout TKO because I'm bold. You're muted, Nick.
Nick is always muted.
Still nothing.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
What I was saying was, I was just making my method of victory, and I've gone for KO or TKO. But now you're making me think twice about it, Drake.
It's tough. It'll be one of those, I think.
Because you lose points if you get the method wrong.
I know.
What?
Tricky. Yeah, you don't get the points if you aren't 100% accurate.
But you don't have to play it, John. You can
Right.
you can just go for the winner, and then that's playing it safe. It's triple or nothing.
Well, okay. Well, fake JHK, whoever makes that account,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you my pick. Fake JHK's pick. I'm living vicariously through someone else that is going to create the account for me. So when you look at this fight, right, and you look at Derrick Lewis, man, the guy, he's a guy that kind of like you want him to be the champion just because Derrick Lewis is Derrick Lewis. We've had so many great moments, and I think a lot of people will look at that and say, hey, man, this guy, he has that knockout power. He's been able to get back up off his back, right, by powering through, by using his strength. But I feel like in this fight, he can't use his strength. He can, but it's not going to be effective against such a great top-heavy grappler like Curtis Blades, right? Derrick Lewis has only lost 3 times in the octagon, or 4 times, actually 5 times, and he's been finished every single time, and he's been knocked out 4 out of the 5 times. The only time he's been submitted is against Daniel Cormier, right, in that title fight where he got choked out by Daniel Cormier. I feel in this fight, Curtis, like Drake said, and I think a lot of people that are going to preview this fight are going to say the exact same thing, is that Curtis is going to go there, he's going to get the takedowns, and he's going to try to throw his elbow through the canvas, right? And then, Lewis's face is just going to be in the way. I feel like that's going to happen, but I feel like Derrick Lewis is going to get up at least once or twice. And that's where he's going to find his gaps, right? He's going to find his angles on the feet. But then eventually, I think as the rounds go, and I don't think it's going to be a quick fight. I think as the rounds go, Lewis will just drain, and then Curtis is going to take over, on the ground. And just, of course, Curtis has said before this fight that he doesn't care about like fight of the night bonuses and all that stuff. He's there to win because he gets a bonus if he wins. So I feel like Curtis can go out there and he's going to do exactly what he needs to do. He's going to go out there, get the takedowns, and drain Lewis, and then go for the finish in like the 3rd or 4th round, something like that. I don't really see Lewis. When they always talk about fights, they're like, who has the more ways to win the fight? And I don't think that Curtis has more ways to win the fight. He just has the best way, the easiest path. I don't know if it's the easiest, but it's the path that he could get there quicker than Lewis can. If you look at Curtis, the only person that's been able to like knock him out is Francis Ngannou, right? And we know Francis Ngannou has that power to knock out anybody. So you can't really test his chin or assess his chin with the Francis fights. So I feel like if Derrick doesn't go out there and get an early knockout, it's going to be a long night for Derrick Lewis, and Blades is going to get that 3rd round, 4th round submission.
Submission?
Yes.
Oh,
All
my.
right.
Well,
you're setting fake JHK up for something right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the on the app it tells you the odds and who's picked who and everything like that. Vegas bookies. Blades is a heavy favorite there, obviously, and he's a heavy favorite with the SCMP MMA group on Fanatics, and all Fanatics users also heavy favorite with them. So if you want to play it safe, guys, we've all picked Curtis Blades, but that's the point of this app. If you are brave enough to pick Derrick Lewis, it's going to pay off big for you, big time. I think Eddie de Blasian is asking in the comments, what's the odds on a Lewis sub?
Oh, they got to be wild.
They have got to be wild, yeah.
Something big money there.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. Do you want to dream big and rocket to the top of the leaderboard in the SCMP MMA group?
Fake JHK Will.
JHK, fake JHK Will. By the way, John, it's good to have you back in the realm of previews. I've missed you, sir.
Well, you know, I gotta fill in for our guy Chris, right? Chris will be back soon. Gotta fill in for him.
Yeah, Chris can only do Thursdays, and it didn't work out yesterday. It's a Friday now in Hong Kong.
So he's here in spirit.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be watching somewhere, wherever he is. Okay. Ketlen Vieira against Yana Kunitskaya, guys. Drake, you've already made your pick, I see. You've gone left. Chris has also gone left with you. I'm in the middle. As always, Jasmine has never made any of her picks. She waits till we've all made ours, and then she goes the other way. Or look, Chris has just switched over.
Oh, wow. Live on the scene.
Some live Chris action there. He's watching somewhere. Okay. I think he's messing with us.
Right.
Because he went straight back to Ketlen Vieira. Okay, Drake, tell us why you picked Ketlen Vieira.
All right. I love this fight, man. I was really bummed when it was canceled initially because this was supposed to happen like 5 months ago, a while ago. It was supposed to happen before now, but I'm very happy we're getting to see it again here. And it's funny because I was super excited for it. I am super excited for it, but really, Yana has a bit of an uphill battle. It is kind of a rough matchup for her when you just look at how well-rounded Ketlen Vieira is. And of course, the grappling is what stands out for her the most. She is a very good Brazilian, championship caliber wrestler. She's got a black belt in judo. She's got a black belt in BJJ. She can do pretty much anything on the ground that she needs to. And for Yana, we've seen that she is strong in the clinch. She thrived there very much so in her last fight against Yulia Stoliarenko. But then again, she's probably the better, cleaner, crisper striker overall. Not as powerful, I would say, as Ketlen, but she moves very well. I've always equated her to a more aggressive Holly Holm, who, of course, is I'm still a training partner. She's still a Jackson Wink, as it says right there, unless something has changed and that's out of date, which I'm not going to think the Fanatics guys are. Of course, they are all on par. But Yana Kunitskaya, the better striker in this matchup. And I think that in this fight, she will need to keep the distance, use her movement, keep Ketlen at the end of the jab, use her kicks, just try and just maintain a good distance and pick apart the much stronger and more lethal in multiple areas of the fight than Ketlen. But again, easier said than done. I think Ketlen will end up closing that distance, get a hold of her, whether Yana wants to engage in the clinch or not, which could be something she plays around with for a little bit, but then she's risking. It's like Viana versus Martin, playing with fire, she's probably going to get burned. So I think Ketlen just has more ways to win this one. She's not a terrible striker either, but, I would just want to note that Yana is probably the better of the two. Ketlen Vieira, I think will, utilize her grappling on path to a victory in this one. And I'm going to say second round submission. I know that we're not, you don't have to make specifics on anything but the main event, but I'm doing it.
All right. Well, I've learned not to go against Drake anymore. I kept going against you, Drake, and you're doing way better than me every week. I've had a terrible 2 or 3 weeks. It all started with that Conor McGregor card.
Then you saw how I did on that one, and you followed your boy, and now we're rolling together.
We're rolling together. There we go. I'm making it official. I did press it. There you go. There you go. On a side note, my screen has frozen for me in terms of my box. Am I live to you guys?
You are frozen and handsome.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I should leave it that way.
Giving us the blue steel.
The yellow steel.
I figure I'll log back in, guys, so it may pop the screen off briefly. 1 sec.
All right. Well, what are
All
your
right,
thoughts on the
well,
matchup, John?
well, when you look at Yana's career, and we can go all the way back to ACB, right? She's gone
Mm-hmm.
through the gauntlet of like
At featherweight.
promotions. Yeah, at featherweight, and then she went to Invicta, and then she went to the UFC. It's a great progression throughout the years. And when you look at her losses, they all have been on the ground, all by submission, or she's been pounded out. Her last fight she lost was against Aspinall, and in that fight she was dropped and then pounded out. I feel like Caitlin Vieira is not going to be able to do it like that. I feel like Caitlin Vieira is going to go in there and be able to take her down somehow. I don't think it's going to include any type of wrestling, but somehow she's going to be able to put Yana on the ground. And then once she's on the ground, that's when Caitlin is most likely going to take over and win this fight. I don't see this fight like ending like early. I feel like it'll go to the second or third round. But I'm definitely taking Vieira in this fight. And you know, another asterisk in Yana is Yana's in love, man. And when you're in love, I don't know if you're training like you should be training for a fight. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, you gotta have that hunger. Maybe she doesn't have that. I'm just kidding. She has the hunger. If she didn't, she wouldn't be in the UFC. But yeah, and yeah, Ali, he's right. Yana does get hit a lot. You know, if you notice in a lot of her fights, when it's over, she's pretty beat up, even when she wins, right? So I feel like she's gonna have the same fate against Caitlin, and Caitlin is coming off a rebound win, right, which is important. And I feel like this is the you know, that loss is probably the little corner that Caitlin needed, you know what I mean, to turn. And I feel like now she's gonna go on this run, and she's gonna fight for the title. There's no doubt about that, right? She's going to fight for the title. It's just Yana's in her way, and I think she's gonna take her out second, third round on the ground. It could be ground and pound submission. I'm gonna go with the submission in this one. Also,
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to add to that.
JHK, make your pick for
yeah.
JHK. Real
There you
JHK.
go.
Sorry.
JHK.
also,
Just
if
wanted
you
to
guys
add.
want to know like prop bets and stuff, I got them all up. So just ask me if you want to know, and I'll tell you.
There we go. There we go.
All right, my computer is having a what we call in England a mare, which is short for nightmare. So bear with
not
me,
short for
everyone.
horse?
Sorry,
It's not short for horse.
no, it is not short for horse. There's nothing I can do. It's frozen. So
You're moving.
It's all good.
am I?
Long as your voice comes through, that's all that matters.
Okay, it's responding again. Okay, because I just need to go back to the next fight. You know, here we go. Charles Rosa against Derek Minner, featherweights. Oh wait, I didn't give you. Yeah, who cares? All right, we'll go on to this one. Yeah. Okay, Drake, you've gone for Charles Rosa. So has Chris. Again, I'm in the middle. Convince me to follow you into the darkness.
Convince you to follow me. Yeah, Charles Rosa, you know, maybe most memorable for I guess the Manny Bermudez win. He's got some good wins on his record. You know, we remember that you know, Yair Rodriguez fight that he had back in the day. In this matchup, he's the guy who has fought the better competition, right? Even though Derek Minner has been around for quite a while and has plenty of fights and you know, fantastic upset victory of sorts in his last fight against TJ Laramie, rebounding after the tough loss to Grant Dawson. You know, I don't know if I have too much in-depth, you know, breakdown for this fight. I think Charles Rosa, yeah, he got completely dominated by Bryce Mitchell on the ground, but Bryce Mitchell has been, you know, proven to be a pretty good grappler. Both guys here in this matchup very well-rounded. Charles Rosa is very tough. The Boston guys always pretty tough. I just like Charles Rosa in this one, and you know, he's fought better people, I think, and I just give him the edge. I don't have a whole lot to say about it.
Okay.
I know John talked to Derek Minner though, so you got the insight, the goods here.
You got the goods.
Give us the goods, JHK.
The goody good. Right. So if you look at Charles Rosa, right, and his tenure with the UFC, it has been a long tenure. He's been through some serious serious injuries, man, and he comes back every single time. I think he stopped fighting for like 2 years, and then he returned against Manny Ramirez and got that armbar finish. But the fight that we remember most about Bryce Mitchell, or not of Charles Rosa, is the Bryce Mitchell fight, where Bryce Mitchell just took him to the ground and just was slithering all over him like a snake, right, for 3 rounds. And I thought that was a fun fight to watch, and it showed a lot about Bryce Mitchell, and it showed a lot about Charles Rosa, that Bryce Mitchell is much better on the ground than Charles Rosa is, right? So in this fight, I think Binner poses those similar threats on the ground, and I feel like Minner has a more diverse attack on the ground. But Charles Rosa is a black belt too, man. That's not like, it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing, but I feel like Minner is just a lot better, and he has so much more experience, and he has so many more wins with submission wins. So I think I'm gonna take a Minner in this fight. I think like if Charles Rosa doesn't like keep his distance and use his striking to win this fight, and they go to the ground, I think Minner is able to take this one on the ground via submission. 3 submissions in a row. Let's do it. Fake JHK.
All right. Well, look, Vegas bookies, Rosa heavily preferred here. 80% of Fanatics users have picked Charles Rosa. So 20% with Derek Minner. It's a bold move.
Minner by TKO is plus 1,000.
Oh my!
Wow,
that is crazy, right?
Well, look, I'm playing it safe. Had a bad few weeks, guys. I'm
Charles
going with
Rosa.
Drake and Chris on this one. I'm joining Charles Rosa train here. Hopefully, it updates soon. I have
His
pressed the
last
button
win
on the app.
too. Very nice. His last win against Kevin Aguilar, though, split decision, very close. Of course, Kevin Aguilar, a very good prospect, though. I did not expect Charles Rosa to get the win in that one, and he went out there and looked pretty good. So, I don't know what that was. That was last year, right? For some reason, I thought that fight was longer ago, but yeah, that was a decent performance.
I'm gonna have
Indeed.
to hop out for like 5 minutes, guys. I'll be back.
Okay, no worries. Let's go to the next fight then, Drake.
All right.
Alexei Olynyk against Chris Daukaus, the heavyweights.
Wow,
like this.
Daukaus the favorite.
Yeah, we got Daukaus minus 195 here. Alexei Olynyk plus 165. I'm not an odds guy. I hope I got the terminology there correct. I don't gamble. Drake and Chris have both gone for Alexei Olynyk.
Chris is riding my coattails.
You know it, because Drake, you've been doing pretty well. I just try and see which one of you does well, and then I latch onto them. But I can't do it with Jasmine, because she waits till like an hour before the card starts to make her picks, and then
genius.
I'm already zoned in, so I can't copy her. I think that's her tactic. She knows we'll all leech off her because she does way better than all of us. I think she was. I didn't see last weekend. Did she do well? Anyway, Drake, tell us why you gone for the 43-year-old boa constrictor, the veteran who has. I can't remember actually how many fights he has, but it's something insane. Oh, there you go. Yeah, like over 70s. Oh, Jesus. Crazy.
Yeah, man. It's surprising to me, obviously, that Daukaus is the favorite in this matchup because of the experience level and just the difference in, who they've fought. Like, this is easily Daukaus's biggest step up in competition so far. The guy has looked very solid for a heavyweight in the UFC, but he hasn't fought people really that good. At least comparatively, and that's why I was surprised in the first place for this fight to even be made. Like Olynyk's last fight was a loss to Derrick Lewis. Like, that's not a bad person to lose to, and Olynyk's only been facing some pretty good competition. So, and of course it is heavyweight, and Daukaus is the younger of the two, which I'm sure is playing a big part into this matchup. But man, it's so hard for me. This is one of those fights though that Olynyk kind of thrives in. When we saw him coming up to get ranked, he was beating guys like Dawkins who, maybe had some success, but then he catches them in these veteran savvy submissions like his what is his main submission called? I'm blanking on it. The like the reverse rear naked choke one. The Ezekiel choke. Yeah, the Ezekiel choke is his thing. He's got so many victories by that, and it's because nobody really knows what he's doing because he's so savvy on the ground and been around for ages now, as we know. So yeah, the experience, the level of competition, how long he's been around. Of course, chin fading. He's older. He could very well get caught. Wouldn't be crazy to see, but I can't go against that. The boa constrictor is lethal on the ground. And if he gets there, I think it's a wrap.
I'm with you, Drake. I'm with you.
Attaboy.
Alexei Olynyk for me. I love this guy. He's a complete legend.
Oh, yeah. He fought Chael Sonnen at middleweight back in the day.
Yeah.
And he lost because Chael's the GOAT.
Well, this is interesting, though. I've got the app open here, Fanatics. Get fanatics.app. Go download it, everyone. Join our SCMP MMA group. So, Dawkins is preferred by Vegas here, as we can see. But Fanatics users are going for Olynyk. 69% of users on the app have picked Olynyk.
All right.
How can I go against that? And Drake just sealed the deal. That's a lock for me. I'm in. All right. We're gonna move down the card though. Phil Hawes against Nasruddin Imavov. Bear with me while I switch it on the app. Again, my computer is not being friendly this morning. I think because I haven't turned it off for about 2 weeks.
That'll do it.
It just starts lagging. You forget to actually restart it every now and then. Anyway, we're up and running here. Hawes, -110. Imavov, +110. Identical records.
Yeah,
You've gone for Hawes, though, Drake. Tell me why.
Tell you why.
Exactly.
I feel like we did that on one of the last previous shows.
I said it and I was going to do it, and I thought, I won't do it this time.
I got you. Yeah, Phil Hawes, Nasruddin Imavov. Honestly, man, for some reason, I just am blanking on Imavov's last fight against Jordan Williams. Like, I can see it, but I don't really remember how it played out. Obviously, he got the win, but I can't speak too much to him. My memory just is not working with me as well these days when it comes to these brand new UFC fighters. I dip my toes in all the other organizations these days a little bit more than the UFC, but Phil Hawes is a guy that, sticks in the memory, a guy who got upset on the Ultimate Fighter and then Contender Series. There was so much hype around him for being, one of John Jones's main training partners for a while there, from what I remember, but just didn't live up to the hype early on, and that's what you see with the 2 losses, even though the Ultimate Fighter one is not counted right there, I don't believe. But yeah, started a little rough, and now he's putting together a very good winning streak. He's turning into a very exciting guy to watch. Has some great finishes. His last win was by 18-second knockout. He just looks like he's coming into his own and proving to be very dangerous in all areas. Like, he's known for his grappling and being a solid wrestler, but has been able to put people away on the feet and very quickly, as mentioned here. But the odds are very tight on this one. This is about even almost, if not even. Maybe it is even. I don't know how exactly. I'm not super good at the betting odds, but both 110s. So I don't know. I just lean towards Phil Hawes. I like a lot more of what I've seen from him, as I just noted that I can't remember much of Imavov, but I'm taking Hawes.
Yeah, I think I've frozen again, which is great.
No, you're moving.
Am I? Okay. Hawes had staph, didn't he? He was meant to fight a few weeks ago, and then am I thinking of the right thing?
Maybe. I think so.
Yeah.
John?
He was on a card. It had to be rescheduled, so here we are. JHK, who should fake JHK pick?
Yeah, this is interesting because, like you just said, Hawes did have staph, and it was bad enough to where they had to pull him from the show, like a day or two before the actual fights were supposed to happen, or was it on the day of the fights? But anyways,
it was the day of the fights, morning.
Yeah, it was the morning, right? So it must have been really bad to where they had to get him out of there. And then also they cut weight a couple weeks back, so they have to cut weight again. And then on top of that, Phil Hawes has maybe still recovering, or maybe he's recovered. I don't know. Staph is not something that is easy to get over, right? It's just it affects fighters terribly. So, but Phil Hawes carries that crazy power, right? Just ridiculous power, and I'm gonna be the stats guy, and to show you that what is it, Imanov, he doesn't have he's never been knocked out. He has only been finished once, which was his first fight of his career. And he also goes in there and likes to take guys to the ground. Man, this is gonna be a good fight. Both these guys have the same record, and what's his name has been finished though. What is it? Phil Hawes by leg kicks in his Dana White Contender Series fight in 2017. Since then, though, the dude has won 5 in a row, and most of them are stoppage wins. I'm gonna go with the stoppage win in this fight. Also, and he's had 4 out of his last 5 fights that he's won, their first round stoppages. I say he continues that, and he gets a first round stoppage knockout win. What's the props on a knockout win for Phil Hawes? It is only plus 125, but a submission win by Phil Hawes is plus 1800. That's not a bad bet right there.
Well, 60% of users on Fanatics have picked Phil Hawes. It's pretty even with the bookies, but SCMP MMA group are leaning a lot more towards Hawes as well. I'm going to add a little to that number myself. I've just picked Phil Hawes. So there we go. All right. Andrei Arlovski against Tom Aspinall. This should be a fun one, guys, huh? I'll bring it up on screen here. Bear with me. Okay. Aspinall minus 255 favorite. Arlovski plus 210. Arlovski, 41-year-old veteran. Love that he's still out there fighting great opponents. Crazy. Is it Arlovski he's been fighting in 4 different decades as well as the ring?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is madness. Now, Drake, you've gone right. I think you've been going left all morning.
Yeah, blue corner
going right
this time.
Yeah. I see. I get it. I understand why. Give us the case for Tom Aspinall.
So it's funny, right? Because this matchup to me is very similar to the other heavyweight matchup in terms of, the up and coming guy looking really good. Hasn't really fought anybody too notable, taking on the super duper experienced, former champion in this case, guy with all the experience you could ever ask for. Has fought everybody, you name it. He's probably fought them and, has beaten a lot of them, 30-19 now. The thing is, though, I in comparison to like Dawkins, I like what I've seen a bit more from Aspinall, and he's looked very good. Just impressed me a bit more, and I think that Arlovski obviously can still hang with these guys, as we saw against Tanner Boser, but I don't know, something about Aspinall. I think that he'll just end up he'll find Arlovski's chin, even though it seems that his chin has been such a roller coaster in the heavyweight division, like in terms of being, just a marshmallow and then turning a little bit harder in these later years, solidifying back up and being able to eat some shots. But I don't know, I think Tom Aspinall has shown that he's when he connects, it usually hurts people pretty bad. And I just have a feeling he will find Arlovski's chin. But again, Arlovski, father time is nothing for him. He could very well pull this off. I'm just gonna go with the possibility of Aspinall finding the perfect shot.
Okay, fake JHK.
All right. So when you look at Arlovski, right, he's done things that we never thought he would do, and he's still doing them. So he's slapping everybody in the face with all the haters, all the people say he should retire. He's shown that he should not retire. He should keep going. But when you look at Arlovski, the last time he finished a fight, right? The last time he finished a fight was in 2015 against Travis Brown. And you remember that fight where he went in his former teammate, and they were all emotional, and that was one of the wildest fights you've ever seen in heavyweight history. Now after that, he's won, I think his last 6 wins have all been unanimous decisions or just decisions against some of the better guys in the division, right? Bozer, Lins, Rothwell, Struve, who we talked about earlier this week, and Albini, Frank Mir. He beat Frank Mir. So it's either going either way. It's either Arlovski's going to get a good rhythm going on the feet and use his boxing and then those low kicks to, and mix it all up to where he can win this decision against Aspinall, or Aspinall's going to go in there and knock this dude's head off. That's what's going to happen. Aspinall, he has really good boxing. He's not the purest boxer in MMA, but he has great boxing and he has really quick hands. And one thing you notice about him, he's very similar to Chris Daukaus, who's also fighting on this card, is that both these guys are extremely fast and they have a lot of speed compared to a lot of the other heavyweights that are floating around in the division, right? That are coming up just like them. So I feel like, what's his name? Aspinall, he's going to go in there and most likely get a first round finish. That's how it looks like most of the time anyways for what's his name? For Arlovski. Either he gets finished early or he goes to the decision. So I'm going with Aspinall by first round knockout. But I wonder what the prop bets are for wait, let me try to find this for you guys. Did you guys already talk about Olynyk and Daukaus?
Yeah,
we did.
Okay. Well, let me try to find the prop bets right now. Where is this fight? I can't find it.
Well,
weird.
Look, 72% of people picked Aspinall on the app on Fanatics, and 28.
Oh, here it is. Okay, so Aspinall's the underdog in this fight, which is crazy.
Is he? It says he's favorite on Fanatics.
Yeah.
Oh, my bookie says plus 135 for Aspinall. Huh. So like a knockout win by Aspinall is minus 125. So that's not really a good bet to put up. You know what I mean? The biggest like with you see like always the draw is like I wonder how many times people bet on draws. That's like one of the dumbest bets in the world. But unless you know something. But Arlovski by knockout is plus 900. The reason why it's plus 900 is because he hasn't knocked anybody out since 2015. And I feel like it's not going to happen. He might be losing some of that power, though. You know what I mean? Like, has he really stunned anybody really bad in the last few fights? He's mostly jabbed his way to victory in a lot of the fights, little crisp combinations, but that's about it. But I think Aspinall is going to be able to get through all of that real fast and then land one of those big bombs. And he's just going to, I think he's going to most likely end up getting a performance bonus with this fight, man. I think this is another opportunity for him, Aspinall. I have big hopes for Aspinall and Daukaus. Those are two guys that are coming up that I feel like these guys are going to make some noise in the next year or two.
Well, as Chris knows, I'm always loath to pick or support anyone representing Liverpool. He trains at he trains in Liverpool, but he's from Salford. I go with Aspinall. Let's do it. Okay. Hopefully it's updated on the screen. I think I'm frozen again in a fairly unflattering pose. So
looks like you're taking a selfie.
Yeah.
You're like duck face.
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I doing there? Really, what am I doing?
You look like you're about to fart out your mouth.
Yeah. Whatever it is, it looks like I'm pretty uncomfortable. How do we fix this?
I don't know. We'll just gotta move on.
Maybe if you turn your camera off and then turn it back on or something. I don't know.
He's having more problems at the office than he does at home.
I know, right?
Which should never be the case.
No.
Maybe we just leave me like this today. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, just let's do it.
Give me one more shot. I'm gonna log out and log in again. But you guys crack on with the next fight. And then I'll bring the screen back up. We got Jared Gordon against Danny Chavez.
All right. So, John, why don't you start with this one? Didn't you talk to both of these guys?
Yeah, I talked to both of them. I interviewed both of them. You can find those interviews on SCMP MMA YouTube page /backforward 50/50. I don't know what it is. Anyways,
Forward.
you know, a lot of people are just like flashback
Right.
that was double semicolon / Kumite TV / SCMP MMA / you know, like,
Yeah,
all right,
everything.
we get it. We get that your page has a lot of like slashes and stuff. But anyways, Chavez and Gordon, right? Chavez, he trains out of MMA Masters, you know, where also Ricardo Lamas comes from. Colby Covington's out there now. They got a pretty deep roster of fighters, and there was a lot of fighters that were there before who switched over to other gyms. If you remember, Amanda Nunez was there for a bit until she switched over to American Top Team. So like, but Danny, he's been there for a long time, and then he was explaining to me that the guy, his coach, is one of the original like people to implement calf kicks in MMA fights, like more than 10 years ago, and he was breaking down the history of that, and I thought that was pretty intriguing. And this guy, he's known for that. Chavez is known for the calf kicks. He utilized them very well against TJ Brown in his UFC debut, got the decision win. Gordon, he's not going to go out that easily. Gordon's been through hell and back in his life, just in his life, not even in like fighting. So this guy's mentality, his mental strength, his fortitude is incredible. And I feel like that will be the key in this fight. Like both these guys are very skilled. I feel like they're equally skilled. Gordon has a more experience in the UFC, and he's had more of a roller coaster ride in his last 5 fights. But I feel like he's going to be able to get it done just off that veteran savvy, just using those little tricks that you only can pick up as you gain more experience. And Gordon's going to eat him alive. I think like he's going to dominate the fight. He told me last fight he didn't even feel good. Like it was the worst camp of his life. He trained like for the last 3 weeks at home by himself going into the fight. Right. So that, you know, with that being said, I think Gordon goes in there and wins a decision. I don't think there will be a finish in this fight, but I'm going with Gordon by decision.
Okay.
Yeah. I like what you're saying there, man, and that's pretty crazy considering, you know, Gordon went in there and won against a very solid prospect in Chris Fishgold. And then you just look at Gordon's career, and at least in the UFC, and who he's lost to. I mean, his last loss was to Charles Oliveira. No shame whatsoever in that one. Before that, Diego Ferreira, another top-ranked lightweight. Of course, the Joaquim Silva one mixed in there, who, you know, was a very solid fighter in his own right, not to the same level of those other guys, but Jared Gordon hasn't historically, you know, lost to the worst of opponents, especially recently. And yeah, he's just a game dude and has been through a lot, so he's not really fazed by much. A good friend of Paul Felder's, I believe, unless I'm mixing up the training partners. But yeah, man, I agree with pretty much everything you were saying, John. So I like Jared Gordon as well by most likely a decision. I could see a late TKO, like some ground and pound maybe, but I'll stay safe with the decision.
He hasn't finished anybody since 2017, which was a ground and pound TKO. So possibly it could happen. You got to keep Chavez on the ground.
Yeah.
And if he's able to do that, I think he's going to be able to do that. It's just, can he bring together enough accumulation of ground strikes to have the referee step in there and, you know, stop the fight? It might be hard with Chavez. Chavez is a tough dude too. So yeah, so if Gordon can go in there and get the TKO finish, that would be great. What is the prop bet on a TKO finish for Gordon? Man, it's 1,200. That's actually not that bad of a bet to take, you know?
Yeah, not at all.
Okay, 53% of users on Fanatics picked Danny Chavez. Pretty tight here. SCMP MMA a little bit closer, even closer. It looks like 50-50 there. I'm going to just attach myself to Drake like a leech. Call me the leech. I'm going Jared Gordon as well. All right, boys.
Jared Gordon is the underdog also in this fight.
So I might pick up some points there. I might need them. I'm not doing too well. Looks like I'm frozen in another brilliant pose. We'll just
just accept it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the green screen is messing you up, or the blue screen. Who knows?
That's a good idea. Let's have a look at this bullshit.
Meanwhile, Eddie the Blasian pointing out Queen's Showdown, which, yes, it is. And hey, it looks like that helped, Nick.
Did it?
Queen's
it's just
Showdown?
gone
What's
black.
a Queen's Showdown?
They're both from Queens, New York, which is
Oh,
interesting.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they both are in Miami.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is weird.
Nick's dancing.
I think it's the old green screen. Okay, we'll leave that off for
There
now.
we go.
Actually, the blue is not that bad.
It goes with the background.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, that is
Yeah.
the background, isn't it?
Well, I mean the background, our frame setup here.
Oh, yeah.
On screen.
It's just a
background.
piece of foam padding. So I mean, I could jazz it up a bit with some. I could put Drake's face here,
Yep.
John's
As you do.
here, Chris here, me next to Chris.
Nah, don't do that.
Just give everybody a mural of all of us.
Yeah. All right. Well, look,
Love it.
let's go. Drakkar Close against Violent Bob Ross. Probably the best nickname in all of MMA, or one of them.
Yeah.
Luis Pena. Who you got, Drake?
I went with officially Drakkar Close, as we see right there. But man, this is a tough one. I really like this fight. It is a very interesting matchup. Both of these guys who at one point or another have been very hot prospects, of course, derailed a little bit. Drakkar Close, no shame in that Beneil Dariush loss. He was looking very good until he wasn't, pretty much. I just got roped into an awesome exchange, but was on the receiving end. Luis Pena had a lot of hype coming out of the Ultimate Fighter season, what was that, 27, 26? I don't know anymore. There's been so many. But on the Ultimate Fighter, he got injured out of the competition, and now since then has kind of picked things up, I would say, in these last two performances or so. I mean, he did get submitted by Kama Worthy, was looking good in that one too, and then Kama Worthy just kind of been that ultimate upsetter guy in a way. So it's hard to tell. They both need to rebound here. Drakkar Close, I think, has proven to be more of a consistently well-rounded performer. Luis Pena, probably more dangerous in terms of submissions and, knockout ability. I wouldn't say he's a knockout artist or anything like that, but I just feel like he's more lethal with his overall arsenal wherever the fight goes. I mean, the guy tried to pull off a buggy choke against Matt Frivola. How often do you see that in MMA? You don't, unless Tony Ferguson is involved as well. So he can attack from a lot of places, but Drakkar Close, just he's very strong at what he does best, which is kind of smother people. And I think he should probably be able to do that again against Luis Pena. And he'll probably have learned from that last loss against Beneil Dariush as well. And I know you talked to him, John Drakkar, that is. So give us the inside scoopity scoop.
The scoopity scoop from Baskin Robbins. Right?
Yeah,
I got
34 flavors.
Yes, 34. Is that
I don't
they
know.
change it?
What does that mean?
32, actually, I think it is.
No, 31.
That's an ice
flavor.
cream shop in America, John.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Nick.
they don't have one in Hong Kong?
What now? Robin.
Baskin Robbins.
Baskin Robin.
Oh, what now?
No, they do not have that.
Okay, well, they got them all over Korea, man. Like, I'm surprised
really?
Hong Kong doesn't have Baskin Robbins. Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins. That's
I
like,
didn't know Baskin Robbins was international, actually. So
yeah,
We
it
got
is,
that
it is.
Bubba Gump shrimp, whatever it's called.
there you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
But
like
is that
comparing.
even big in America?
I don't know. Like,
Oh, okay.
I haven't been in America for a long time.
I think there's some here, but they're more down south, of course. So,
Looks
But
like
yeah.
I'm frozen again anyway, but
yep.
Yeah.
go for it, guys. Sorry.
Well, Drakkar Close, one thing that was interesting about the interview is that his mind state, his mindset heading into this fight, it's like he's only there to win. That's it. It's not about like climbing the ranks. It's not about none of that. It's about winning and making money, and that's his mentality now moving forward. He talked about the Beneil Dariush fight where he knew, because he was winning that fight, right? Remember, they called it the comeback of the year, and he got caught up in the moment, and I think that he's learned a lot from that. Because when you look at Drakkar Close's record, he's only lost twice. He's beaten some really good names. He just hasn't been the fighter that everybody's latched onto with excitement. That's it. But skill-wise, the dude is complete. He can do everything. And that's what's going to be a problem for Luis Pena, a guy that is so all around and is not worried about finishing the fight. He can sit there and grind you out if he wants to. He can sit there and punch your face off. And Luis Pena, he had a lot of hype coming off the Ultimate Fighter, but it seems like he's had some trouble just trying to find a home since leaving the Ultimate Fighter. He was at AKA, now he's at American Top Team. I think before that he was over there with Frankie Edgar and his team, and just moving around. And when you see a fighter moving around a lot, and Jakar Close, the same thing. He was at Fight Ready this time. He created basically his own team, and which I feel like that's a better sign than someone that's just hopping around gym to gym. He created his own team. He was training with like there was a Muay Thai gym in Arizona, and then he had a couple other spots where he would go, and then he's working with Sean O'Malley's coach. With a lot of people would probably think Sean O'Malley's coach is probably the new Shabazian, or what's his name? The guy that was coaching Ronda Rousey.
Edmund Tarverdian.
Yeah, Edmund Tarverdian, right? A lot of people are comparing Tim Welch to Edmund Tarverdian, which is the worst comparison in the history of MMA.
You don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want that, right? But it is what it is. But it doesn't matter. I feel like Jakar Close, all of that, once the door is closed, he's going to go in there and get the job done. I think that what is it? He's going to win by decision. If you look at the prop bets, Pena by submission, I think that probably would be the most likely way he could win this fight, either by submission or decision. I don't see a knockout coming for Pena. He doesn't carry that power. Submission would be plus 600. Close by knockout is plus 1,000. Close by decision is plus 100. So if it's plus 100, most likely for decision, I think that's what's going to happen in this fight. I'm taking Jakar Close. So fake JHK, put him up there.
Okay. 28% of people are going for Luis Pena. So yes, 72% Jakar Close. Most Fanatics users are going with Close. Vegas bookies have it that way too. I will go with them. I'm not going to rock the boat. There we go, boys. Clean sweep. How about this one?
Nick's still shot looks like he's holding in a sneeze. I just have to say.
Yeah, I've got an idea. I'm just going to put up the brick wall that you have, Drake, and just leave up a brick wall.
Perfect.
Maybe. Yeah. And people can look at that. There we go. Eddie Weinland against John Castaneda. Do your thing, boys, while I, for the 20th time, try to sort out my camera.
Putting the wall up on us, he's gonna do. Yeah, Weinland versus Castaneda, very interesting matchup, and the thing with it is, Eddie Weinland coming off of that, devastating knockout loss to Sean O'Malley, way back whenever that event was now, and then taking on an up and comer like John Castaneda, who, he doesn't have a lot of hype behind him, I would say. Of course, a lot of people know of him from his LFA days or Legacy. He was in one of those promotions. I think I have my notes up here so I can see. I want to be accurate here. Oh, it was Combate. Excuse me. So Combate Americas. So that's where he came from, and had a good little career there. But came in, took on Nathaniel Wood, very tough debut opponent to have your first fight against. I think he was a short notice replacement, so that always plays a factor in these kind of things. But taking on another guy, there's a lot of these matchups on this card, specifically with the heavyweights, where it's an up and coming guy taking on somebody who's been around for quite a while. These changing of the guard potentially matchups, and this is another one of those. Eddie Weinland, you could argue one of the best bantamweights ever, at least a guy who is a notable one in the history books, right? The first WEC champion ever. He ended up working his way to a UFC title shot at one point. Always has had devastating knockout power. His boxing's very crisp. He moves very nicely, very awkwardly, but it works for him. This is just a case where I'm going with the guy, again, who has much more experience against the highest level of competition possible, and a guy who still very unproven, especially if we're going to compare matchups again to the heavyweight ones. Castaneda not as well proved as, let's say, Dawkins or Aspinall, who are also very not proved. But I got to think Weinland will rebound. And, as JD Smith is saying there, you can't really fault Weinland for, just taking that perfect shot from O'Malley. And I think he'll rebound. And Nick is muted again. But he's moving.
Oh, God, it's been the worst day ever. JHK, fake JHK, who you got?
When you look at Eddie Weinland, yeah, he fought for the title. He's arguably probably in the top, I say 20 to 15 range, all-time bantamweights ever. I put him in there, right? He's fought best of the best. If you follow this sport long enough, you know that. He's just kind of like fizzled to the background and put himself in this like position as a gatekeeper. And I feel like this fight is more important for Eddie Weinland than it is for John Castaneda. John Castaneda is the prospect coming up. He just lost his debut. They're putting him against this gritty veteran. It's almost like they're testing who should stay in the UFC. It's almost like that scenario. Like if Weinland wins, maybe he could prolong his stay. And if he loses, maybe he's going to find a job somewhere else. And Castaneda, if he loses this fight, it's that's 2 in a row. One more, you're very close to getting cut. So this is a very important fight for both, but I think more for Eddie Weinland to stay with the promotion, unless he signs some new contract that we don't know about. But with contracts, they break those things all the time. I could see Weinland, for some reason, with his style of fighting, with his stance and everything, bare knuckle boxing. He has the look. He has the mustache, and JD Smith, Digi artist. He's just said it. BKFC's calling for Eddie Weinland. Eddie Weinland versus Artem Lobov is something that I can see in the future for some reason. But anyways, going back to Weinland and this fight, I think Weinland wins this one just off experience and I feel like the knockout against O'Malley was, oh man, it's hard. It sucks to say, but like a fluke in a way, just like he got caught, right? It happens, and that's what happened to Weinland. Is his chin compromised? We will find out against Castaneda, because Castaneda is a striker, right? He has that Taekwondo background, so he's gonna throw all kinds of stuff at Weinland. If he can weather that storm, I think Weinland wins. I think Weinland wins by knockout. I feel like one of these guys is gonna knock each other out. I think Weinland's gonna get it to it first. So let's take Weinland, fake JHK, Weinland by knockout. And what's the props on that? Well, if you asked, let me tell you. Weinland versus knockout or by knockout is plus 500. Castaneda by knockout is plus 500. So one of these guys are getting locked out.
Okay, 56% of people gone for Castaneda on Fanatics.
Wow.
I'm leeching onto Drake again, though. Eddie Weinland. And John also convinced me. There we go. There you go. Comment here, Jin, saying, was that knockout a fluke or a good setup by O'Malley?
Well, a fluke is would be the wrong word, Jin. I'm saying that he got caught. I don't know if that would be called a fluke, but he got caught. A lot of fighters get caught. We talked about Curtis Blades earlier. He got caught by Francis in that second fight. If you watch it, he got caught, right? They got an exchange, got caught. So, sometimes with those small gloves, when you get hit perfectly, you're gonna go out. It doesn't matter who it is. So, yeah, fluke may be a wrong word to use, but it was a good setup too.
All right, Nate Landwehr against Julian Erosa. Over to you, Drake, as usual.
Choo-choo, the Nate the Train coming through. This is probably the sleeper pick for fight of the night for me. This one was real fucking tough to pick, man. I'm very excited for this fight, though. And this looks like even odds here. They're both minus in the minus territory, which generally means even, if I'm correct here. Don't quote me on that. But Julian Erosa, Juicy J, another Ultimate Fighter guy who started off a bit rough, had a brief stint in the UFC, didn't pan out for him, worked his way back up on the regional scene. I think that he actually came in, as you can see there, through three-fight losing streak, and then on short notice, but ended up picking up some wins in the last fight that he had against Sean Woodson. My goodness. incredible stuff there because it was a rough start a little bit for him. He was hanging in it the whole time, but was losing clearly, and then managed to come back and secure the win over another fantastic prospect in Sean Woodson, looking very good. Erosa's striking it was kind of always his strong suit, but his defensive wrestling in that fight was very good, and his just he didn't go away. He was just always there and didn't fade despite the adversity that Woodson was putting him through. And Nate Landwehr is one of those guys very similar to, he's always bringing the pace, bringing the action, doesn't go away, very durable. I mean, he took on Darren Elkins, who is one of, that's the damage right there. A hell of a fight that was that they put on. This is a very tough one to pick because if somebody doesn't gas, this is going to be very close. But I don't know, man. I just really like the striking that Julian has been showing in his last couple fights, and Landwehr can take plenty of shots and he can give some back, but in the end, I think Erosa will probably just outland him, and that'll be the big part. The big story of this fight is the volume difference. It should be very crazy, though. I am so excited for this one. I was flip-flopping back and forth between who to pick, but I got to go with Juicy J, man, the Seattle boy, our man from the Seattle area, John.
Is he?
Yeah.
I think I think I saw that, but I think he's out of Vegas now, right?
Yeah,
He's training out of
hometown. He was
Vegas,
born
yeah.
in Seattle.
Yeah, he's born up there in the Northwest. With this fight, man, it's Landwehr. You got to give him a little extra respect for being a champion in M1. You know what I mean? An American going over to the Russia and to the Caucasus and winning a title, that's not easy to do. Anybody that's foreign from that area is not easy to do. And he went in there and beat all of the guys that they put in front of him. And they put their best guys against him. And he went in there and did the damn thing against a lot of the guys and finished a lot of the guys. The best path to victory for me, for Landwehr, is to go in there, close the distance, and grind on the fence against Erosa, right? And eventually take him down and see what he can do on the ground. If he can do that, I feel like he's going to have a pretty good night for himself against Erosa. But Erosa, like you said, has great defensive wrestling. And the question is, will Erosa gas? If Nate can gas Erosa, then I could see Nate going in there and finishing this fight. If Erosa can keep the distance and use his distance really well against Nate and pick his shots from distance, like far away, and just jab, jab, jab. You know how the jab works. You saw it again in the Gilbert Burns Usman fight, right? The jab works, and I think Erosa needs to utilize this against Landwehr. If I was gonna have to pick somebody, fake JHK had to pick somebody, I would pick Landwehr by ground and pound in this fight. I'll pick that. I'll pick the ground and pound TKO finish for Landwehr. If you are asking about the prop bets, Landwehr by TKO is plus 275. Erosa by TKO is plus 450. But submission win by Landwehr is plus 1,000. That's weird, right? Like Erosa by TKO is plus 450. Like you make more money if Erosa knocks out Landwehr. I would think that that's kind of a high bet. So, but anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm taking Landwehr by TKO on the ground.
All right, Landwehr, 70% of users on Fanatics have picked him. Erosa on a 3 fights. No, sorry, I've got that wrong. Backwards. He's on a 2 fight skid, had lost 3 before that. They flipped the results around here on the app to make it chronological. So, yeah, SCMP MMA users are heavily going for Landwehr. I'm going to play it safe again. I'm going against you this time, Drake. So
Ooh, all right.
I'm joining Chris over on the left.
You could use some love. It's all right.
No, there you go. All right, let's move on. There's so many fights on this. How are they going to fit it all in? It seems like they haven't got enough time to do this show. Is 3 hours they want to fit everything into?
Yeah, they'll have to rush it.
Yeah, crazy. All right, Raphael Alves against Patrick Sabatini. No picture there for Sabatini, sadly. But, yeah, take it away, Trey.
All right. So, admittedly, Again, I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. I don't know a whole lot about either of these guys. I did see Pat Sabatini's last victory, which was that armbar over Jesse Stern at CFFC 91 in December. I only saw the armbar finish itself. I didn't see the whole fight, but a very nice scramble and, ability to find that armbar in the position that he was in. Looked very good there and, extended his winning streak to 2. Nothing crazy, but taking on a Raphael, excuse me, who was riding, a good winning streak. And I'm pretty much just going off the fact that he's got a nice longer winning streak, even though Sabatini did, pull off that nice victory. I'm just going with the guy who's got more momentum in this one.
What about fake JHK?
Fake JHK is analyzing and computing the numbers.
Okay.
And then now he has what he wants to say. When you look at Alves, right? He trains out of MMA Masters, just like Danny Chavez we mentioned earlier. He is riding a 5-5 winning streak. He has finished his last 3 opponents. Guillotine choke twice, TKO the other one. I feel like this guy Alves, if you look at his career so far, he had a good run in the beginning of his career, and then he had like a lot of mixed results, and then now he's kind of hitting his stride, maybe hitting his prime, and it kind of shows that we're gonna see a really good version of Alves. Especially this is his UFC debut. He's coming off the win on the Contender Series, so there's a lot of upside to Alves. But when you look at Pat Sabatini, is it Pat? Yeah, Pat Sabatini. Already, I don't like Pat, that name. I don't know why. It's maybe because that Saturday Night Live character, Pat. It's Pat. I don't know if you guys know that. But he does have a lot of submission wins, which is kind of a red flag for Alves, because Alves, most of his losses are by submission. So if I'm just gonna, like Drake said, there's not much known about both of these guys, but if I'm just gonna look at it and see from off like just their record and their previous performances, I'm going to take Sabatini in this fight by submission. I think he's gonna be able to pull it off against Alves.
Okay, the stats actually haven't been updated on the app, so it says 0% of fans have picked both fighters, which can't be right.
No one has made a single pick in this fight except for
Apart
me
from
and
us.
Chris.
Yeah. So, I don't know who to pick. I'm just because Drake and Chris have gone with Raphael. I'm going to do that as well. I'm not in the mood to be brave. I've been stung recently, as we documented earlier. I'm just going with the flow. At least if I go down, Drake and Chris coming down with me on that ship, that sinking ship of Fanatics failure. So let's move on, boys. Shayna Dobson against Casey O'Neill. Casey, I said debut right, John, in UFC, right? She's one of the Tiger Muay Thai crew. She came out of UAE Warriors, right?
Yeah, I don't know if the thing is like she's in Vegas now, so it's hard to say if she's part of the Tiger Muay Thai crew. Still, maybe she is. I don't know for sure. But yeah, with Casey, she's probably the best prospect, women's prospect coming out of Australia at the moment. If you go and watch her previous fights, you know that she's very strong on the ground. She's very good on top position. Her wrestling is getting better, not the best, but getting better. She does look awkward on the feet. It's very apparent when you watch it that on the feet, that's where she lacks the most. But she's going to be one of those fighters that we're going to watch grow up in the UFC. I think that's what's going to happen with Casey O'Neill. She's going to be one of those. She's one of those prospects, right? She's like a Kay Hansen. She's like a Jillian Robertson. She's one of like those fighters. She's going to be around for a while. And I feel like this is a great test in her first fight. Instead of bringing her up against another prospect, they bring her up against Shayna Dobson, who doesn't really have that many fights. And arguably you could say that she has grown up through the UFC too, with very mixed results. When I look at this, it's like, man, you want to go with the more experienced fighter, but something about Casey, like I interviewed both these fighters, and it's just something about Casey that that shows that she's gonna go in there, and she just has some kind of factor that I can't really put my finger on, but she has that factor where if her mind is right, she's gonna go in there and implement a good game plan against Shanna Dobson, and then just utilize her strengths. I think that's the focus. I think if she goes away from her strengths, Shanna Dobson is gonna take over this fight and win. But if she O'Neal focus on her strengths with this going to the ground and top control and jiu-jitsu and ground and pound, she'll win this fight. If I had to pick, fake JHK would pick Casey O'Neal to win her debut by ground and pound. Maybe it's going to be third round. Let me see what's the prop bets on that. Third round. Third round. Let's see. Third round for O'Neal win. Third round is plus 1,400. Whoever's watching this, place a bet for me. I won't pay you, but if you win, good for you.
Then you got to pay John.
Yeah, you gotta pay me, but if you lose, then it's all good. Anyways, yeah, I'm taking O'Neal on this one.
Drake, are you gonna follow Chris and go with Shayna Dobson?
No, I'm not flopping. I agree with what John was saying. Great assessment there of Casey O'Neal's skill set. Very strong on the ground, very good top control. Was very just good at controlling people in general, and that's how all of her fights have essentially played out in victory. Not much of a finisher, just 2 finishes, one by submission, one by TKO with the ground and pound. So I do think that this will be a unanimous decision for Casey. I'm going to believe in her. This is kind of a tailor-made setup fight for a debut for her. Shanna Dobson, somebody with a decent name now, after the crazy upset against Maria Agapova. But if you look at that fight, Maria Agapova fight, Agapova was doing well, as expected, as she should have early in that fight, and she just gassed herself out horribly. Like, she was winning early on, and then just totally lost it all because Dobson didn't go away. So it was a legitimate win for Dobson, but it wasn't like she dominated right out from the gate. So this matchup stylistically is very good for Casey because Dobson, primarily a boxer of sorts, and not even the best of boxers. We saw her get knocked out by Priscilla Cachoeira in that fight before that win, under a minute. So she's been hit before, she's hittable, but her strengths are in her hands, and her weakness will be on the ground, especially against somebody as talented as Casey is in that area, and pretty one-dimensional in that area, as John said. So she's going to take it there, and I think she will have success and ride this fight out against the more experienced and name Dobson, and get a good debut victory here.
Yes, Casey O'Neal. I'm going with Casey as well. But the zeros. No, the app. the app has not been updated with the stats, so it says 0% have picked either fighter again. Boys over at Fanatics, if you're watching, a couple of those last fights haven't got updated stats. I'm sure they will sort them
Shout
out
out
soon.
to Fanatics for getting Adam Barton joining the team, writing some stuff for them. Drake, are you on there too?
No, I'm not. No.
Fanatics, what are you guys doing? Come on, you got to get Drake on there, writing some stuff. Come on, hire the guy. Let's get him on there.
Come on.
He's promoting. Come on.
Adam Martin, about it. Dude. We love Adam Martin. You had him on, didn't you, John?
Yes,
great guy.
Of course. We'll have him on again.
Yeah, and we had Nolan King yesterday. That was a really fun chat. Look, here's Chris. 2 Brits to win in one night. Drake, are you a limey in disguise?
No. That is exactly what a limey in disguise would say.
Exactly. Luke Lopez here. Sup, y'all? Shave the beard. Nice.
Shout out to Luke, man. Shout out to Luke. Luke always comments. He's always, not always, but he's usually he's in here during our podcast. Shout out to him, man. Appreciate the support. We definitely need to get on, getting those shirts out there for people, and getting them to, this. That's like the running joke for 2021.
Yeah, I'll do it. As Chris knows, I am destitutely broke for various reasons, and I cannot even afford things like postage to other countries until hopefully a couple of months. and then I'll get all the shirts out to all the fans. What I like about Luke is he even if he's not watching the show live, he'll watch it later and he'll comment again, on YouTube, and all of that helps our algorithms on YouTube and things like that, and gets the video seen by more people. So thank you, Luke. We really appreciate that. Anyway, we got a few more fights quickly to get through, and then we can chat some of the big topics of the day, which there's some great news I want to get to. Chaz Skelly against Jamal Emmers, featherweights. Boys, who you got?
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to bounce out of here after this one, you guys. But Chad Skelly versus Jamal Emmers. Yeah, this is one very interesting fight. Jamal coming off of that win over Vince Cachero back in the summertime, which feels like forever ago. And before that, had the Giga Chikadze loss, which was a split decision, very close one actually. Kept it nice and competitive. Chad Skelly, though, I love the scrapper, man. He has been always constant entertainment in or out of the cage. Unfortunately, he got rid of his Twitter for some reason, but an always fun guy to watch, and had some cancellations with that Grant Dawson fight, which unfortunately has kept him out of the octagon since 2019. So will he be rusty coming into this one? Big question. Just always an awkward guy in the cage, like how he moves and everything is kind of very stiff, but he makes it work for him. He can snatch up submissions all over the place, as we saw in that crazy fight with Maximo Blanco early into his run, where 19 seconds to get an anaconda choke. Crazy stuff there. Skelly is just very good at finding submissions in awkward places. A strong wrestler, awkward striking, as I mentioned. So I think he will need to get the fight to the ground in this one. Whereas Emmers, not bad on the ground, and probably the better overall, well-rounded guy. Fresher, of course, not coming off of a layoff like Skelly is. But I just really like Chaz Skelly. I always have, and I think that if he gets it to the ground, he can snatch something up. I'm not sure if he will, but I think he will be able to have good success in advantageous positions to get back in the win column. Will continue staying in the win column after, a 2-year gap or so since 2019, having not competed. So I like the scrapper here.
Okay. What's fake JHK saying?
Fake GHK is saying that Jamal Emmers, man, when you go look and dissect Jamal Emmers, and his only loss in the UFC was his debut against Giga Chikadze, who is probably the best prospect or like contender prospect that's coming up in the division, and he went to a split decision with him. Shows you a lot about Jamal Emmers and his skill set. And that long layoff is very, it's like a big warning sign, a big billboard saying like, I don't know if you want to put your money on Skelly. I think Skelly's been through a lot of like health issues too. I think he's had surgery in that time. Man, I'm gonna take Jamal Emmers in this fight. I think Jamal Emmers will be able to get a decision over Chaz Skelly in this fight. Chaz Skelly, he's a guy that's so unpredictable, but I think that Jamal Emmers is just it's going to be better and just has a little bit more momentum going his way. And if you want to know about the prop bets on this fight, don't ask me because I can't find these guys.
I'll go Jamal Emmers too. Let's make it official. I'll join Chris on the right. Yeah, 45% of users though have picked Jamal, even though he's favorite with the bookies. More people in the SCMP MMA group on Fanatics have picked Jamal, but overall, Chaz Skelly's getting a bigger nod on the app. So yeah, divided opinion on this one. Should be tight. Drake has had to bounce, everyone. He has an interview in 10 minutes. So we thank you, Drake, for all of your picks. And obviously, we'll still be able to see who Drake has picked on these final 2 fights on the screen here. Ayman Zahabi against Drake Rodriguez. JHK, we're going to go straight to you because Drake is no longer here.
All right, I'm Zahabi, the brother of Faraz Zahabi, TriStar, the world famous gym. He's been... One thing about him is he's been grinding away at TriStar. But then I heard that TriStar does not have the best setup for training because there's so much restrictions, and I think that's why Rory McDonald left TriStar and went to Sanford, just to be able to train properly and not worry about all the restrictions and everything. But yeah, with Zahabi, he's returning off, almost like 10 months. 10 months, I think. Yeah, 10 months, 9 months, on the sidelines. And he's coming off a 2-fight losing streak. He won his debut in 2017. I don't know. I'm it's hard to say, what I mean, with Iman, because he's always been talked about in such great manner. And when you look at Draco, he's making his UFC debut against Iman. I'm gonna take Iman in this one. I feel like the experience is going to be helpful for Iman in this fight, and I see a decision. I think Iman gets a decision over Rodriguez.
This is a tough one. 54% of users on Fanatics have gone for Draco Rodriguez. Yes, he's also the favorite of the bookies. Fanatics users as well, and SCMP MMA Fanatics users. So, do I go with JHK's advice and join Drake over there? Or do I go with Chris? I'm going to go with Chris again. Draco. I'm swinging right. Sorry, John.
All right.
Any prop bets for us, or I'll move on to the final fight, the first fight of the night?
Iman Zahabi, prop bet. The best value you have would be a TKO finish, which is plus 750. And for Rodriguez, the best would be a TKO also. It's plus 500. But I feel like they're going to go to a decision. And the decision for Iman is plus 600. So that's actually pretty good value. On my bookie, Draco is actually Iman is actually the favorite in this fight.
Okay, first fight of the night, Sergey Spivak against Jared Vendera. John, you interviewed Jared, didn't you, recently? Is that enough? Did he give you enough to convince you he's going to take this one?
I think he didn't even have to give me anything. I feel like just looking at their track record and the type of opponents they have faced, especially Spivak. Spivak he beat Carlos Felipe in his last fight, and you see what Carlos Felipe can do. He can swing with the best of them. He stood toe to toe with Justin Tafa and won a decision. He's fought Walt Harris. He's fought Tai Tuivasa, beat him by submission. And he's fought Marcin Tybura. Now, he's fought better competition in the UFC. Vendera is making his UFC debut, but I feel like Vendera, he's a guy that you can never underestimate him, and he's coming in with a lot of confidence and a lot of steam, and he has a lot of international experience. I'm going to take Vendera by knockout in this fight. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a first-round knockout. I feel Vendera is going to come in there and do a pretty good job just working his striking and get the finish early.
So now Drake and Chris have gone for Spivak though. And so have 80%. That's a huge number of Fanatics users. So, John.
So that means I'm gonna make a lot of money off these people.
These mugs.
Yeah, and Vendera on my bookie, Vendera is the favorite, which is very unique, right? So there's
what odds is your bookie giving?
Minus 235 for Vendera.
Oh my days. This is crunch time for me.
Yes.
I will go with you, John. I'm gonna go with Vendera. There is a chance I flip-flop on that before the fight starts there.
Well, that's what's good about the app, right? You can change it up before the fights actually start.
Absolutely. But I don't like to flip-flop. We like to stick with what I pick.
All right.
That rhymed on the show. But we'll see. I'll try and stick with that. Maybe I'll get some points there. And it'll be a good start to the night. That's it for the preview. Now, if you still got time, John, we were going to talk about Leon Edwards, weren't we? And Belal Muhammad, which has been signed for March 23, I think. After Hamzat dropped out again because of COVID, they have found Leon a replacement. Belal, remember the name Muhammad. Impressive win last weekend. He's stepping up. He called out the leech, didn't he, first?
Yeah, he did. He
He's
had a
getting a bit of a
list.
bigger jump now, isn't he? He's getting Leon Edwards. So do you like this fight? Do you think it makes sense? Just your initial reaction, please, JHK.
If this doesn't make sense, then Hamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards probably didn't make sense either, right? So if you're gonna be supporting Hamzat Chimaev fighting Leon Edwards, you should definitely be supporting Belal Muhammad fighting Leon Edwards. I think that that's the position you need to take on this, and I'm happy to see Belal Muhammad get this spot, get this chance, but it's not gonna work in his favor. I feel like he's fighting too soon after a fight, and I believe he win this fight by finish. I think he won it by decision, right?
Decision against
Yeah,
Lima, right?
yeah, Lima. So they went 15 minutes, and he went to decision.
And his leg looked banged up.
Yeah, and his leg would bend up. But we still have a month, I think, until the fights actually happen. But the thing about that is, man, I just feel like Leon is he's just much better at everything. And it's good and it's favorable for Leon. And you know what sucks is that the names that were on the list, like Covington and a couple other names that they mentioned to fill in the spot, they didn't take the fight. And there's a reason why they didn't take the fight, because they don't have enough time to prepare for Leon. And Belal stepping in there and taking that chance. And I respect him a lot for that. But he goes in there as the heavy underdog. But we're gonna see a hell of a fight because Belal's not easy to put away. And I don't know. I think we'll just most likely see a back and forth, but more of a clinic by Leon Edwards if he's able to get in there and hit his stride early, because he's been out for so long. But yeah, I don't have no problems with this matchup. I think it's fine, and I'm always happy to see guys get a chance, an opportunity to fight in a main event and against a big name.
Yep, and it just came to the point, didn't it, John? I think that we just want to see Leon fight. It's been coming up on nearly 2 years, right? July 2019, I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's been a while.
RDA, yeah. And if he hadn't taken this fight, it would have definitely crept up to 2 years. So I think Leon making the right decision there, taking a fight. Just any fight would be good. And the guys above him didn't want to fight him. The only one that the one I think would have been perfect was Wonderboy, but Wonderboy's injured. So you keep going down the list. Yeah. Belal Muhammad, like you said, John, props to him for taking this fight. Here's Chris in the chat. Leon should be fighting a top guy, 29 years old, 8-fight win streak. He's been stuck in the wilderness. Should have been Chiesa or Wonderboy. Yeah. Well, if Wonderboy's injured, what about Chiesa, John? Does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense, but a lot of these guys are not going to take that chance. They're not going to risk, going in there on a short camp, short notice, and fighting one of the best guys, pretty much the guy that's supposed to fight for the title next. You're going to face him and take that risk. I feel like these guys in the top 5, top 10 rankings, they understand the situation that they're in, and it doesn't benefit them, right? They don't go in there with the confidence that they need to beat Leon Edwards. And I feel like in some ways it is smart for them not to take the short notice fight. But for Belal, he's sitting at 13 to face the number 3 guy. If you beat Leon, that puts you in the top 5. We've seen that happen with Marvin Vettori. So Belal's doing the same exact thing. Marvin Vettori faced off against Jack Hermanson. Hermanson was ranked top 5. Now guess who is sitting at 5? Marvin Vettori. So great opportunity for Muhammad. The other guys, I understand why they didn't take the fight.
I mean, Leon alluded to that. He said they all go running and make excuses when it's time to put in work. And he thanked Belal, says, respect Belal for stepping up when no one else would. March 13, I show I am the best in the world. Hashtag strap season. John, do you think this gets Leon a title shot, though? Because if he wins, good for his momentum, to get some momentum back, or to keep the momentum going, but to shake off that ring rust. But can you justify putting him up for the title after beating someone ranked way below him,
It's happened before, so why would it not happen now? I don't. If he goes in there and he completely destroys Belal Muhammad, and you got to remember he's number 13 in the world, so it's not like he just beat some unranked guy that nobody knows. So if he does get a title shot off this win, I feel like it's fine. Because if you look at the body of work in the past couple of years, he's done enough to get a title shot already. So another win to his resume, another win added to his streak, just helps, his argument for the next title shot. It doesn't matter about the name. The guy has number 13 next to his name, so it's fine.
But it sounds like, John, they are pursuing Masvidal, Usman too, with the added bonus of those guys being the coaches on the new season of The Ultimate Fighter. Looks like the way they're going. So that's going to take...
that could happen, right? But then also, you never know you never know for sure until they're actually there at the locations filming and stuff. So you never know. Leon could slide in there. He could have them film the whole season, and then during training camp for the fight, one of those guys can pull out, and then Leon can slide in. There's so many situations. It's so unpredictable that where Leon can fit in somewhere. But like you said, the path right now for them is, we want to do Usman versus Masvidal, the rematch, and Usman, he wants it. Masvidal, of course, he wants it, and both their managers want it. So I'm pretty sure they're going to get what they want, but Leon is going to slide in there somewhere. All he has to do is win this fight against Muhammad, and he'll be primed to get any position that opens up, especially with the title involved.
Okay. Well, why don't we move on then to our other topic, which is the Bellator rankings. Bellator has announced they're going to do some rankings, and you're on the panel, John, aren't you?
Yes.
That's cool. How did this come about? How long has it been in the works? What can you reveal to us? Any inside information?
It's been in the works. From what I know, it's been in the works for a few months now, but it could have been in the works for the past year or two. I don't know. I have no idea. But from what I know, it's been in the works from my experience, from my just, my interactions with Bellator. It's been a couple months, and and then they have this whole system of how they're going to do the rankings, and it's a third party system where like Bellator doesn't control it. It's some other companies controlling the rankings. So that's how it works. You know what I mean? Like, and they reached out to me, you know what I mean? Like they asked me if I wanted to be involved, and I said, yeah, anything to I guess anything to like grow the sport and push it towards making it better. I mean, I feel like the rankings, everybody complains about the UFC rankings and who is participating in the UFC rankings. But when you look at the list of who is involved in the rankings compared to the list that the UFC has of the panelists, I don't know. You could say there's more legit names and bigger names and more respected media members on the list. If the UFC asked me to be on the problem with the UFC rankings is like the UFC has the rankings, but we don't know if it's that transparent. That's the problem, right? And what Bellator is trying to do is trying to make it transparent, right? They're trying to make it to where they are not involved in the rankings. It almost seems like the UFC is completely involved in the rankings, even though they have a panel to decide, and they push guys in the rankings that the panelists have not, put in their rankings at all. So, there's people that drop out the rankings, from time to time with the UFC. So we just have to see, what I mean, with Bellator. I'm involved in it, yes, and I'm going to be voting, and that's clear as day. But we don't know for sure, like how this is going to move forward. But I'm very optimistic in trying to, make it as transparent as possible. And I think Bellator is trying to make it to where it's a very somewhat of a merit based system for title shots or whatever. But that's just my point of view. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Bellator told that to me. You guys could read more about it. I'm not the Bellator representative, But yes, I will be involved in the rankings, and I feel like it's a good step forward for the promotion and for the sport. There's a question here about the rankings. Maybe we could get into that.
Yeah, Tan Nguyen. Hey Tan, good to see you again. Why are MMA media members reluctant to be part of UFC rankings, but okay with joining Bellator rankings, even though the UFC is the one that pays their bills via net traffic?
Tana, what are you talking about? Like, that's weird. Like, okay, you're saying that people don't want to be involved in the UFC rankings, even though they're paid by the UFC, like the UFC pays their bills via traffic. I don't know if that even ties together. You know what I mean? Like, even if there was no UFC, it's not like we just cover UFC. So you guys got to think, even though that, without the UFC, of course, a lot of traffic wouldn't come through, but that doesn't have nothing to do with the media members not wanting to be involved in the rankings. There's personal reasons for people not want to be in the rankings. There's all kinds of different, reasons why people don't want to be in the rankings. I'm pretty sure Bellator asked a bunch of people, and some people said that they didn't want to be involved, and that's up to them. You know what I mean? I'm not reluctant to be in the UFC rankings. I've never been asked to be on the UFC rankings, so I have no idea. And I don't even know how long this will last. You know what I mean? Who knows what's going to happen? But one thing that we know for sure is that the UFC rankings are not the best rankings, right? They don't really go by that rank. They don't really go by that system. They just have it. It's just there. And we use it to, push narratives and stuff like that. But other than that, I don't know. I would be in the UFC rankings, just to answer that question.
Some nice names on that list, John. I like it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, that list could change at any moment, right? Somebody could drop out. Someone can't do it anymore. They might be able to add someone in. But yeah, they do have a good list of people. Like, do you know who all these people are? You know most of them, right?
I know most of them.
Exactly, right? So long as you know who most of them are, and most of them follow the sport really closely. And the problem with, like, the UFC rankings panels is, like, most people don't know who those people are that are voting. So now it's a little different. And I like how Bellator kind of comes out and they make it some kind of a deal, like, hey, we're gonna do this. And they're not like trying to sneak in rankings. They're not trying to do none of that. They're trying to be transparent and open. So
because I had this problem. I am on the One Championship rankings panel, and as I've complained about before on our shows, I haven't actually been consulted the last couple, I think, at least, of rankings updates, and there are definitely rankings decisions being made by One themselves. I think they're taking like a 50-50 approach, 50% panel, 50% us. That was not what I signed up for, and I am going to take myself off the panel because, like John says, I think it's wrong to do that. Well, not wrong, you can do what you want, but I don't want to be part of that system. And if Bellator, John, is going to do it through that third party, like you say, and it's completely independent, I would have no problem being on that. But no one wants to know my opinion on Bellator. I don't cover it. So I will not be asked to be on the panel, but I'm glad to see you there. Just if anything, because I know you work really hard, John, and you have done great work. And I think it's good recognition for some of that hard work. So congratulations. I saw Nolan King was also on there. We had on the show yesterday. So I sent him a message saying congrats. Some other big names there, MMA Junkie John. But I think Aaron Bronstetter tweeted that he turned it down, right? Because he thinks rankings decisions should be made more data-driven. Do you agree with that? And what does he mean data-driven? What could that approach look like?
Well, the best case scenario would be a mix of both, right? A panel and data, and the data is given to the panelists, right? That could be something that, it could be something in the works in the future. I understand Aaron. You know what I mean? Aaron has his right to not want to be involved and his reasons why. And I feel like most likely there's a lot of guys out there that cover the sport that don't want to be involved. And also, if the promotion wants to do their own rankings, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? You don't have to look at the rankings. You don't have to worry about the rankings. Like, like all these people talk about like, oh, I don't like the UFC rankings is terrible. But at the end of the day, we're always looking at the rankings, right? We're always looking at, we're always mentioning it. I'm doing it too. Like, hey, he's number 13. He's number 3. Oh, you're on the verge of the rankings. Like, who would you like to fight in the rankings? Like, it's a lot of narratives that we push involve the rankings, right? So if the UFC wants to do their rankings and have like outside source do it, and then they dabble and dibble in the rankings, it's up to them. One championship, same thing. We're still trying to figure out what is the best way to do rankings. But one thing about Bellator is they're trying to kind of like give it to us and say, here you go. We're going to have you guys do the rankings, and there's a system and there's like a program that we have to go into to do the rankings. It's pretty cool to be involved because I'm actually involved in it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually going through it, and I get to see exactly the system of how they're doing it. And so far what I've seen is great. You know what I mean? It's going to be fun to see when they actually come out. And they have a period like where you actually go in there and they give you emails and, updates and like, information. And we could use that information on top of that, watch film on, watch the events and all kinds of stuff. And then you get to calculate your rankings. So I'm optimistic, but at the same time, we just have to see where this leads us, right? But I want to stay positive, and hopefully it could be something that other promotions can utilize, and Bellator will be the first to do it. So we'll see what happens. They're not the first to do rankings, but and they won't be the last to do the rankings. We just want to see how different it comes out. You know what I mean? How beneficial it can be for the fighters. At the end of the day, that's what we want. Beneficial for the fighters.
And it's never going to be perfect. Let's see how they do. Okay, any other news, John, you think we should talk about? Or do we bring it on home?
Yeah, I don't think there's much news today, right? Other than, like you said, the Leon thing, and that's about it. Yeah, I think if anybody has any last minute questions, put them in there. If they don't, let's just get out of here, man. Let's get to our normal day.
Okay. Yeah, there were a few questions at the beginning, but I don't know if those people are still around watching. So I think we covered a little bit of it. They were asking about 261 being in Vegas instead of Singapore.
Oh, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say we covered them. So yeah, why don't we leave it there? We'll be back on... God, what day is it? Friday?
Today is Friday, yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Probably not doing anything tomorrow. I have a day off, which is great. And I plan to do no work on it. But Sunday, we will be back, or I'll be back for sure. I'll be doing a UFC recap right after the show, hopefully, or as close as possible after the show. As John is always welcome to join, but I know you've been doing some stuff with James Lynch, so feel free to
fight
do
companion?
Yeah, not a companion. I mean, a recap.
Oh, no. I only did the, like, with James, I only do the, like, the pay-per-view fight.
Okay, yeah.
Live, like, it's live hangouts or whatever. It's just something that we did a long time ago and just started to do again. But it's only for the big pay-per-views and only for the main card. So we just do it for that, me and James. And last time James he got a little drunk. And if you go back and watch his recap of UFC 258, I believe, 258. Go back and watch the recap of his UFC 258, and he's like really drunk. I don't know if he's really drunk, but you could tell like he slurred his words and everything. So go check it out. And he's just they're asking like random questions. It's pretty funny. But yeah, shout out to James. If you guys are watching this, every pay-per-view I do a live hangout with James Lynch. And if you don't know James Lynch, then I don't know if you're even watching what we do, because if you watch what we do, you probably watch what James does too. But yeah, you could join me over there. The recap stuff, I'll probably be around, so we'll see what happens.
Yes.
Isn't
You
there
do too
a
early.
one championship card this weekend?
No, next Friday.
Okay, next Friday. So
Yeah,
well,
so we'll be
maybe
back.
we'll have a show next week. Well, one championship show. Who knows?
Yes, I will definitely be up for that. And otherwise, yeah, see you all Sunday. We'll be here straight after the UFC show. So come join us and we'll recap everything and ask whatever questions you want. That's about it. Thank you to Drake earlier for joining us for this preview. And thanks as always, JHK. And we'll see you all again after a while. Cheers.